Hello, friends. Rich here with another GRM training. All right, we've been working through the 7 marks of effective charity. Remember, we are aiming to have effective charity. And in case you didn't know, another word for charity is actually love. So we want to have effective love, not temporary love, but long-term love that's going to impact their life for days, weeks, months, years, maybe even decades beyond where they have us. But our real goal is what is in their eternal best interest. I want us to always keep that in mind. What is in the eternal best interest? We know their eternal best interest is always going to come through Jesus Christ, not through us. We are not the heroes of the story, but Jesus is. So eternal best interest, when we're looking at effective charity, we want to help them out, show them love, so that way they begin to see a picture, a little taste of what Jesus is all about. And true charity is exactly what that's all about. So what we're doing here is we're going to go through the 7 marks of effective charity. We started off with our A, which is affiliation. Closer, nearer. Those are the key words for you to remember that. Closer, near. The closer we get to their family, the better off it's going to be. They can serve them, especially after they're done working with us. They have this connection. We can help them have a healthy connection with their family, whether it's blood related or just kind of adopted into the family, whether it's foster care, maybe just a distant relative, somehow connected. Family is going to be the best option. And then we go to the next option. We're looking at the church. The local church should be that connection. Iron should be sharpening iron. Where we can help them go, where they can have iron sharpening iron, that they can be healing, growing, and prospering on that end. That's our affiliation. Then worst case scenario, when there's absolutely nothing left, then we can go to the government, and they could be a safety net for them. But again, that's worst case scenario. They're too far away to really be able to connect with the men and women we serve. We want closer, near is the goal. That's what affiliation is all about. B is bonding. We're going to get to know the men and women we serve and let them know us a little bit. Connecting, understanding one another, hearing their stories, looking for the best inside of them, believing the best inside of them, experiencing all that they have, their hopes, dreams, the things that make them tick, the things that get them excited, the things that make them sad, the things that make them mad. We want to understand all that so we can best serve them. Just checking the box is never going to pull that off. We got to get to know them. And then we talked about the more controversial area of categorization. We're triaging the men and women who come in here. Not everybody coming in here is able to be served by us. The first category was needs relief. You'll remember that we needed relief. That's pretty desperate straits. They cannot take care of themselves. If they need hygiene issues, they can't even take care of that level. We can't even take them into the mission. We have to be really quick to get them back to the hospital, get to a nursing home, someplace that can care for them. But other people just need longer term service, need some more medical care, something that's beyond our ability in a human sense to take care of. Now, we want to be careful with this. A lot of folks will say they fit in that category, but I'm going to suggest that not as many who believe they are actually in that. Then we have the needs work. They've already done a lot of preparing. They've already done a lot of emotional and physical healing, so that way they're ready to go back out into the workforce. Again, most of our guests think that they're already ready for that, but they haven't been able to keep a job. There's something else going on, so we may delay that if that's needed. But for those who are ready, we want to get them into work. They'll go through our work start. We can connect them, have them find that dream job that would be really a great part of them. And then we have this category needs challenge. That's most of the guests. All those who get past panel, they need a challenge. So we have to add that challenge into their life and allow iron to sharpen iron, help them to get better, better, and better than where they came in and where we saw them at. We have a particular matrix that we use, a rubric that we use to say, this is what we're aiming for. Can we take you a step, inch at a time to get you there? We're going to put this challenge out, not too hard, not too soft, just that right mixture to get them moving forward. And then we have those others that just need tough love. We're going to have to put that tough love, and just because we exit them doesn't mean we don't like them. It just means they're not ready for change. And we want to support that choice that they made to not be ready for change and send them on out. But we're going to welcome them back when they're ready. Just when you're ready, we're here for it. We have to allow the prodigal son to get into the pigsty, do the pigsty events, and then they can come back in their right mind, ready to experience life change. Well, this week we're going to talk about how do we figure out what category they go. And this is our D, it's discernment. Again, the tragedy of American compassion. We're looking at the D, discernment, the 7 marks of effective charity. This is probably, I think, the most difficult, challenging one to describe. So how do we get discernment? Well, we get some of that discernment from experience. We have some staff with a great amount of experience. They've seen things, heard things, they know people. Sometimes that education, that knowledge gets in our way, that experience gets in the way. So sometimes we need other people to kind of speak into that, because maybe we know these folks, they burned us a time or 2 or 12 or whatever, and we just don't want to help them anymore. We're kind of burned out. And when that starts to happen, we need to check our own hearts and step back. But the experience is a great discernment tool. You can start to see when they look this way or they act this way, there's something going on there and you can address it. So experience. We also have just study, preparing. We, as the staff of Gospel Rescue Mission, those who are interested in being poverty fighters, we need to educate ourselves on a regular basis. We have our book club. We have books that we talk about, but there's other books out there. Study, read, think, meditate on it, and understand to the very best of your ability just the basic parameters of the culture of poverty, the culture of those who are homeless, culture of those who are interacting with. We serve people from multiple different cultures and tribes and languages. We got to learn to understand who they are. So book learning can do that, podcasts, all those things can build up. But the real source of discernment is the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is going to give us some clues, going to give us some ideas. I need to ask this or I need to say this. And we got to be obedient to the leadings of the Holy Spirit. That needs to be a prime focus. And speaking of that, the Spirit says I need to pray real quick, so I'm going to pray real quick. Well, thank you for taking that time. I have my alarm to set off to pray at the same time Muslims are praying in the world. And so I could be praying really for their salvation is really what I'm aiming for, is that their salvation to the true God and not to those other disciplined but misled folks that are out there. So praying for those folks. So thank you for taking the patience of that. So let me kind of finish this up with this conversation. This discernment is a very difficult challenge. Trying to figure out what category on, who do we continue to help, who do we have to say, okay, it's tough love, time for you to go. How do we figure all that out? The only way we're going to be able to do this in a way that really honors God and honors you as those who have volunteered your life to help serve these folks is that your voice needs to be heard. You might be the only one who thinks they need to stay, or you might be the only one who thinks they need to go. We need to hear your voice. We have a conversation around it. And don't feel judged if they disagree with you. That is not our heart. Our heart is that we want the best interest of these men and women. And if there's something else we can try, we want to try that. Ultimately, we do have to make a decision. We can't just dance around with this forever. But so a decision will be made either by the rescue director or by the site director. Those decisions will be made. But your voice must be heard. We have some who are going to lean toward grace and some are going to lean toward truth. We'll talk more about that in a future lesson, a different class. But we want you to know that your voice is important. Maybe you see something nobody else can quite see yet. We need your voice. We don't do this as a vote. We do this as a decision by the leadership. However, your voice is important. I want to finish up with this. I have those of you know me know I love history. And so behind me I got General Grant and General Patton. And one of the things that they would do is they were getting ready to go into a battle, or they were in a situation. They're like, what do I do next? What do I do next? And they would sit down, and several other generals would come around them, and they would discuss this. And as a leader, General Sherman particularly was good at this. General Patton not so much, but General Sherman, or General Grant, would say, okay, General Sherman, what do you think? And he'd get his opinion on him, and then go to the next general and the next general, and they all gave their opinions, and then General Grant made the decision. He just went with all their thoughts, and sometimes he agreed with one and disagreed with another, or sometimes he took a piece of this, a piece of that, and put it all together to do something even more creative. When we're talking about discernment, what I want us to think about is how can I best serve this individual? How can I be creative in what we're going to do? And how can I help them move forward toward flourishing? So again, thank you so much for stepping into this training. We look forward to doing more in the weeks to come. Let's go out and be great poverty fighters. You have a great day.